For more than 20 years, Sunday nights meant one thing for Americans: the Ed Sullivan Show. Viewers gathered in homes, around the television, to watch new acts and enjoy old favorites. In total, there were 1,068 episodes of The Ed Sullivan Show, a program that aired remarkably across the span of 4 decades. The show made history for its longevity, for its viewership, and for its diversity. CBS hired Sullivan, a journalist and radio commentator, in 1948 to host its first go at a variety show. Nicknamed Vaudeo, it combined vaudeville with TV. It was given the name The Toast of the Town. That first episode included Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis, Rodgers and Hammerstein, some singing firemen, a ballerina, a pianist, and a boxing referee who was set to officiate the upcoming Joe Louis Jersey Joe Walcott match. This show literally had something for everyone, and that would be the start of a Sunday night tradition for a majority of Americans. Over the course of an astonishing 24 seasons, Ed Sullivan introduced more than 10,000 acts. This was a true variety show, and one of the main reasons the show was so popular, Ed Sullivan welcomed all sorts of entertainers to his stage. Musical acts, writers, comedians, dancers, actors, circus acts, and Broadway stars. They represented all walks of life and all branches of the arts. Sullivan had a gift for spotting talent. He had an uncanny ability, intuition really, to know which acts would take off in the limelight. He could read a room like no other and be able to gauge which acts would go on to have successful careers. And his show certainly helped to increase that popularity for the artists who were lucky enough to appear on his show. While he was super savvy in that regard, his actual hosting abilities were, well, a bit awkward. He flubbed lines on occasion, he mispronounced words, his smile sometimes felt forced, but that only endeared him to the American public. He was genuine and unassuming. Sullivan wasn't afraid to push the boundaries. In one of his spring shows in 1953, Sullivan and Broadway director Joshua Logan spoke about Logan's time in a mental institution. Sullivan believed that this was the most important show of the decade, and he was really proud of it. The publicity from the conversation brought awareness to and more advances for mental illness. Another boundary was crossed on September 9th, 1956. This was the night that rock and roll officially took over American culture with the appearance of Elvis Presley. Ratings skyrocketed. A whopping 60 million people watched it. That equates to roughly 86% of people that watched TV that night. They saw Elvis Presley's debut on The Ed Sullivan Show. Sullivan, however, was not the host of the show for Elvis's big debut. Sullivan was at home recovering from a terrible car accident, so entertainer Charles Lawton filled in. Elvis had been a hard sell for Sullivan at first. He thought Elvis was too vulgar. He didn't want him as a guest. However, after rival Steve Allen's ratings soared after an appearance from Elvis, Sullivan, well, he changed his tune, and now he welcomed Elvis to his stage. Elvis would go on to appear 2 more times on the show, the last of which he was filmed from just the waist up once he started moving. Sullivan didn't want to show any of his suggestive dance moves. When Sullivan and his wife traveled via London's Heathrow Airport in October of 1963, they were met with huge crowds, screaming with excitement in the rain. Sullivan inquired and was told that the Beatles were returning home from a concert tour. Sullivan famously responded, "Who the hell are the Beatles?" But he saw the reaction that they garnered, and as soon as he got to his hotel, he was on the phone. Fast forward to February 9th, 1964. Still in the shadows of JFK's assassination, Americans needed something upbeat. They needed something positive, and it arrived in the form of 4 long-haired British young men. The build-up to this historic performance was unprecedented. The show received over 50,000 requests. The theater had seating for just over 700. Tickets were a hot commodity. Even Sullivan queried his audience leading up to the event for extra tickets. Close to 74 million viewers watched the Beatles that night. This time around, Sullivan was there, welcoming the Beatles to his stage. Lead guitarist George Harrison almost didn't make it though. He was sick with strep throat and he skipped all of the rehearsals. But he knew that he couldn't miss their American debut, so he played with a fever over 102 degrees. Speaking of fevers, Beatle fever, Beatlemania had begun. They would appear on the show 8 more times over the years. Sullivan was an advocate for African American entertainers, who oftentimes had a limited platform at the time. He welcomed the Supremes, James Brown, Louis Armstrong, and the Jackson 5, which all helped to catapult their careers. He was a champion for equality, and he used his stage to promote talent regardless of color. The Ed Sullivan Show is an American institution. It remains one of the longest-running variety shows in TV history, appearing on air from June of 1948 to June of 1971. Sullivan, Mr. Sunday Night, had guts, intuition, and a knack for entertainment, and his show delighted television audiences across our country week after week and year after year. Thanks for watching Memory Mountain. If you enjoyed this video, please click to subscribe to our channel and hit that thumbs up button. Be sure to tap the notification bell so you'll be one of the first to know when we post our next story looking back over the landscape of Americana.